After a brief two-game skid, Wemby and the Spurs are back to their winning ways. Let's start on Friday as they were hosting the Rockets. That was Arch Manning.
Oh.
And now Wemby showing off for Arch right there.
And I was wondering who that kid was who made it look so small.
I thought I was a little boy. Huh?
I did.
A few minutes later here in the third, Wemby going to work. Gets that one to bounce in.
Shooter's touch.
On to the fourth. Stephon Castle gets it to Wemby. And then late in the fourth, Wemby gets the ball in the paint, steps back, knocks down the jumper on the baseline. Wemby, 22-8-4. Spurs win by 11. The Spurs were on a back-to-back, but got a big boost with De'Aaron Fox back in the lineup for the first time since March. De'Aaron Fox again making his debut against the Pels. Second quarter, Spurs up 8. Fox with this shot right there for 3. Under 2 minutes left in the first. Spurs up 10. Wemby at the top of the arc. He drives with the flush. Spurs up 12.
Ew.
On to the fourth quarter. Under 11 minutes left in the fourth. Spurs up 9. Castle. He gets the lob here to Wemby.
Oh.
Reverse. Wemby 18-18. Spurs up 11.
Reverse.
40 seconds left.
On Burt.
Spurs up 3. And that floater goes in for Fox. Fox finishes with 24. The pair of Wembanyama and Fox have played in just one game together so far this season, but the early returns are promising. The Spurs had a positive net rating with both of them on the court. That's encouraging when you see their totals were in the negative in 5 games together last season. So we saw teams throw different stuff at Wemby here, the Suns, the Heat, the Lakers, whatever, last week, and he struggled a little bit. So, David, how will De'Aaron Fox help?
Yeah, just when teams thought they had a game plan for Wemby, putting smalls on him, double teaming him, you throw De'Aaron Fox in the mix, and he makes this so much more complicated as we saw last night. If teams are going to double Wemby, Wemby is the third most double-teamed player in the league. This is what De'Aaron Fox is going to add to this wrinkle. You're going to double Wemby. He's going to move to the paint. You got a wide-open Harrison Barnes who is going to knock down this 3 more times than not. Then you come down the court again. Wemby's going to set an off-ball screen. He's going to rush to the paint. You got De'Aaron Fox can create on his own and nail this 3. De'Aaron Fox had one of his most efficient games, 4th most efficient game of his career off of screens last night. Then you have this, which is just impossible to defend, where you're going to get the ball back to Wemby. You're going to try to double team off of De'Aaron Fox. Good luck. That 3 is going to go down every single time. Teams thought they had something. You bring in De'Aaron Fox and his clutch play that makes Wemby even more indefensible, that makes Fox tougher to guard, and that makes the Spurs team even harder to defend. And I think the sky is also going to just be the limit for them when these 2 are on the court. We didn't see much of it last season. We're going to see a lot more of it this year.
Well, one thing we're not going to see is teams throwing a 5 on Wemby anymore. I mean, when they were through Los Angeles, we were talking to Steph Castle after the game, and then he said, I think we've seen the last of people trying to guard him straight up with a 5. You're going to see double teams. You're going to see everybody on there. But what helps there is when you have a guy like De'Aaron Fox who can create off the ball and he's an underrated shooter. We don't think of him as a great shooter, but he can stretch the floor for him. And I think just that experience he had, and he was so good for the Kings in that playoff run a couple of years ago. And they've only played 5 games together. You know, we think he's been there a while, but after the trade, he only played 5 games, and Victor had the blood clots. Then this year, De'Aaron's been out until this last game. So let's see where they are in a week or 10 days when they start to develop some chemistry.
In the wonderful world of Wemby, he like owns all the highlights. They're just too extraordinary. And I think lost in all his amazing is what Stephon Castle has been doing. After his Rookie of the Year campaign, he's averaging 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's held the fort down before De'Aaron Fox has gotten back, and he's had some amazing highlights of his own. He's also been extraordinary defensively, looking like an All-NBA defensive candidate. So I think we got to put some respect on his name.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. I mean, he's been fantastic for sure, and he's taken a leap. There's no doubt about that. All right, let's shift over here. It's been a madhouse on Madison for the Bulls this year as they're undefeated at the United Center. Chicago has won 5 straight at home to start the year, the first time since 2013. And every time they've started this hot at home, they've made the postseason. Let's go to Jamal Collier, who's in Chicago ahead of tonight's game. Jamal, how are the Bulls planning for Victor Wembanyama?
Well, George, it starts with pace for this Bulls team, and they've been one of the fastest teams in the league over the past 2 years. They're currently 6th in the league in pace, and the Spurs are a bottom 5 team in that category. That's why Josh Giddey told me this morning, we almost want teams to hate to come in here and play us because you're going to be running up and down the court, getting back in transition. Those Bulls guards led by Giddey are so good with those hit-ahead passes, getting guys out in fast breaks. That's especially important against a guy like Wemby because you don't allow him to get set on defense where he can be a rim protector and be such trouble around the rim that we've seen opponents shy away from it there. You know, you guys talked about guarding him with the 5. The Bulls do not have the size to match up one-on-one with Wemby, so defensively, they know it's got to be a team effort. They have got to swarm him, give him different looks. You know, Chicago guarded Giannis Antetokounmpo the other night in Milwaukee with Isaac Okoro, and they had to really help him out because of the size difference that he's giving up. That's going to be the key for them against Wemby, is to continue to give him different looks and to keep him active running around the court and not allow him to get set. The Bulls are coming off back-to-back losses. You got Milwaukee and Cleveland these past 2 nights. They got a tough game against the Spurs. They're really finally being tested. This team got off to such a hot start, the Bulls now, and now you're seeing them against some of the tougher competition in the league. They're trying to find ways to close games and to keep up with these top stars.
Just 2 months ago, these two teams faced off in Eurobasket in the semifinal. Or excuse me, these two, not these two teams. Sengun and Giannis.
That's right.
And there was some trash talk afterwards, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So let's take a look at Alpi there and Giannis. Third quarter, Rockets down 8. Josh Okogie finds Sengun in the corner for 3.
Ooh, quick release.
Rockets down 5. A little over 5 minutes left the third. Bucks up 7. Giannis on the drive. He finishes with a dunk over Amen Thompson. Bucks up 9.
3 guys there, jeez.
Less than a minute later, Rockets down 9.
Your Bucks, Ramona.
KD on the drive in the finish. Rockets down 6 early in the fourth. Bucks up 2. Giannis, some bully ball here. Gets the layup. Giannis 37 and 8. Bucks up 4. A little over 4 minutes left. Rockets down 3, but in transition. Thompson to Durant. Back out to Sengun for the throwdown. Rockets down 1. Under 2 minutes left. Tied at 113. Durant with the drive. Hits the fadeaway. Durant with 31 and 7. Rockets up 2. Now Sengun with the hook shot. Rockets now up 4. He did it over Giannis.
Everybody ran away from him.
35 seconds left. Let's take a look at this, and Giannis picking up full court.
Look at him dribbling full court. Behind the back.
Sengun evades him.
Goodness.
Drives here. Spins.
Waves off Durant.
And finishes.
I got it.
He's
I'm
like,
good.
everybody clear out.
Clear out.
Finishes over Turner.
A center clear out.
Gosh, full court.
Grown man.
Somewhere Shaquille
Here's
O'Neal is
Sengun
like,
after the game.
I mean, after we lost the last game, we were all pissed. I was so pissed. So, we can do the same mistake 2 in a row. And, we just wanted to win. End of the game, we already played clutch, we already played right, and we got the dub.
We're supposed to win this game today. We didn't. We gave them the game. Tomorrow we have another one. This is why, NBA is great. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. Tomorrow you have another one. You have another chance to redeem yourself. And but tomorrow is a must win. We cannot win. We cannot lose 2 in a row.
All right, Mark. Describe the jump that you've seen Sengun make here.
I went to the first game this season when they played in Oklahoma City, and this guy's a top 15 player in the league right now. He's been an absolute bull. He's added a 3-point shot. Best post player in the league right now. Nobody scores easier in the league than him. He is bullying people. Him and KD together are a problem. This guy, I don't know if Biggs can sell jerseys, but he's one of the top players in the league right now. He's only going to get better. If he somehow could start being he's a good passer, he's Jokic-like right now.
Yeah.
You consider Jokic a post player? Do you think he's better than Jokic?
In the post, yes.
Wow.
That's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, baby Jokic is one. Listen, he's
Turkish Jokic, I believe, originally was a nickname. Yes.
But I agree with you there, and I think he's benefiting a lot from having Kevin Durant around him because it's creating some more space for him. But
like he went the length of the court.
I know the handles on that, and also the chutzpah.
Get out the way.
Yeah.
David, what do you think here? Giannis has done everything he could do here. He almost has to do too much, it feels like, on the floor out there with this particular group. What did you make of what you saw there, particularly at the end from Giannis?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between a team and the Rockets with multiple weapons down the stretch, Sengun, KD, and even Amen Thompson, and a Bucks team with Giannis who are just overly reliant on one dude. I think he might have gotten even a little gassed at the end of that game. He had 1 point. He was 0 for 2, 1 for 4 on free throws with 2 turnovers. And that Sengun drive up the court was preceded by this Kevin Durant drive where Giannis does this almost sort of cheats on defense where he reaches and runs down the court like he's going to get the steal. It doesn't happen, results in an open 3 that they miss. He does it again with Sengun. I don't know if that's just exhaustion or something down the stretch, but he, kind of let them blow by him in those plays. It's very not typical of Giannis and a Bucks team whose calling card had been defense that's struggling defensively down the stretch. Something has to give when you're relying on Giannis. And I think the defense is one of those things. The guy just is a one-man machine. But when you're playing against an elite level team like the Rockets, that stuff kind of falls apart.
Okay, I'm the person who's been on the Bucks since last summer.
I'll give you credit.
Okay, they start off 4-1. They lost a couple of games here. They probably could have or should have won. But on this one, I think that's Giannis raising his hand saying, I'm not going to let some center beat me down the court. I'm not going to let Sengun go full court and not be able to steal it from him. So I understand what you're saying there, David, but I think the Bucks, if you're sitting there right now, you're going into the game against the Mavericks, you got to feel pretty good about how you started this season. I know Giannis has been doing everything, but he does that. That is what A.J. Green has had a good year. They've gotten better than expected production out of Kyle Kuzma. I mean, I think they've had a pretty good start to the season considering where they were coming into it.
November has not been good to the Dallas Mavericks, who started the month 1-4 after losing the first 4 games of the month. Dallas got its first win against the Wizards Saturday. The Mavericks have averaged only 104 points of scoring in those 5 games. Now joining us, NBA Today senior reporter Tim MacMahon. All right, the Mavs' struggles in November have coincided with the injury to Anthony Davis, who's missed the last 5 games with a left calf strain. What can you tell us about his status for tonight's game against the Bucks?
Howdy, Georgie. AD is listed as questionable again. He was also listed as questionable Saturday when he had targeted to return that night against the Wizards. Now, I told you Friday on NBA Today there was not necessarily alignment within the organization on that. There was pretty significant pushback from the Mavs medical staff. Remember, AD returned early from injury, rushed back to make his Mavs debut, aggravated that, and then he was out for the next 6 weeks. Now, I am also told that Patrick Dumont got involved on the decision-making here before Saturday night. He was on the side of let's err on the side of caution. I'm not saying that he made the decision, but the fact that the owner felt the need to become involved, that is a significant development in and of itself. So AD is questionable again. We'll see if he gets the green light tonight.
All right, what about Klay Thompson? He came off the bench in Friday's loss to the Grizzlies and then missed Saturday's game with an illness. What's Thompson's outlook for tonight's game?
Well, he's not on the injury report, so he should be playing tonight. You know, that game against the Grizzlies, he was scoreless. That was his second game coming off the bench. And let me just tell you, the decision for Klay Thompson to come off the bench was a big one. It kind of got buried under all kinds of stuff in Dallas, but he had started the first 81 games, including the playing games, in Dallas. They recruited him to Dallas with the promise of a starting job. They are well aware just how hard he took when he was demoted briefly to that bench unit in Golden State. It just reached a point where they had to change something. Klay Thompson had really been struggling. They hope that he's well, and they hope that his jump shot starts going down, because, man, do they desperately need a spark from one of the only real shooters on the roster.
All right, Tim, excellent stuff as always. Adios, amigo. The Mavs head into a 4-game homestand and look to use the home court advantage to get some momentum. That's the plan, but 3 of those 4 games are against teams who are above 500 or better, and the other game is against the Clippers. So, David, what have you seen from Klay this season?
All right, let's start off on the bright side of with Klay. That's not going to sound like the bright side of Klay, but just bear with me here.
Okay.
Klay Thompson is shooting 2 for 18 in wide open threes this season. 2 for 18. That is not going to continue for the rest of the season. You have to believe that won't happen. A lot of those are front rim. Maybe he's getting some of the legs behind him. But you got to believe this guy who shot 45% from wide open threes is going to continue that. But beyond that, there is an emotional element to all of this. This dude left Golden State. He left Steph. He left Draymond. He left the dynasty of Golden State to go win a championship in Dallas. Now, Luka's gone. They have an offense that does not work. And this dude has to be thinking about what did he actually sign up for. If it weren't for like going to his Instagram page and seeing what he's doing outside the court, I'd feel worse for him than I do right now. But you have to think about what, is going through his mind by being in Dallas in this situation that is vastly different than the one in which he's scoring with Luka and Kyrie Irving and playing for a championship.
Mark, it's interesting what David brings up, and I'd love to get your thoughts on all of this stuff. But, I talked to Clay before the opener, and I asked him about, because J. Kidd had said, Coach Clay has become more involved, like he's drawing up on the whiteboard. And so he has been invested this season, and I asked him about that, and he just said to me, it's like last year I almost felt like I was still a little bit of a guest, right? Whereas this year I feel like I want to take more ownership of it. And I would imagine this decision has to have him involved to some level.
Yeah, I've seen as much Clay basketball as most, him being in the Bay Area. And relax, I think he'll be fine because this is what he does. Remember when he blew out his Achilles? Remember when he blew out his knee? After he returned from injury, he has had slow starts. Since returning from injury, he typically averages 13 points a game in October, but then the rest of the season he averages 19. So he's a typical slow starter.
He has been, yeah.
Kyrie's not there. They're experimenting from a point guard position. I don't know how I feel about this bench role. He certainly has a lot of pride, but I feel like he'll get better.
Well, I think there are also big picture things in Dallas right now. They're 3-7, and I don't know how your Twitter feed is, but every time they lose another game, somebody retweets that Nico Harrison quote, "Time will tell if I am right," right? Trading Luka.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting uncomfortable there. I've heard from people who've been to games in Dallas every night that they lose. There's a lot of booing of Nico Harrison, Patrick Dumont when they even are sitting in the stands. It's uncomfortable. And it's not just because they're losing. It's because Kyrie's out. It's because Luka's been so great for the Lakers. Because AD's been hurt. Clay's been bad. It's kind of all of that, but they still have Cooper Flagg. And I know he has not been a shining star yet, but that's because Jason Kidd is using him in that point guard role and trying to accelerate the process of where he thinks he needs to be. He did that with Giannis, and he told me, a lot of people thought that was a mistake too, and it ended up working out okay. So I know it looks bad right now, but time will tell if they are right, and it's just going to pop right back up into my mentions again.
Yeah.